Hey there, I'm Richie. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the Fenrir Pro by Gwolves. The earlier rendition of this mouse is the Fenrir Asym, and that's my favorite fingertip mouse. So any upgrade to that, I'm dying to check out. Oh, also, stick around to the end of the video because for the Season of Love, I'm thinking of doing something special for all of you guys. Anyways though, without further ado, let's get into the review. Alright, so before any unboxings or anything like that, I did want to show you all where you can pick up the Gwolves Fenrir Pro, how much it costs, and I also did want to say a few things to think about before buying it. So, heading over to Gwolves' main website, shop.gwolves.com, and heading to the wireless mouse in the Fenrir wireless series, you're able to see the three Fenrir mice, the Asym, the Pro, and the Max. Clicking on the Pro, you're able to see the 6 different colorways it comes in: black, white, and pink. These are the solid shell colors, and they're coming in at 160 Canadian. And then for the translucent shells, violet, rosewater, and clear sky, they're coming in at 175 Canadian. And this leads me into what I wanted to talk about. These are very expensive mice, and they're very niche mice as well, I'd have to say. So I want to say, use the rest of this video to really ponder if you do want this mouse and try to compare it to the mouse you already have, and if you really think that fingertip grip is your next upgrade. So now let's move on to the unboxing. So, like all Gwolves products, they like to pack you with accessories. So, he even put molding clay, lightweight molding clay here on the outside of the box. And they give you 2 sleeves in the outside of the box. And then also an extra bag here to put your mouse in. So, getting that out of the way, let's get into the accessories that are inside of this box. Alright, so this is everything you get inside of the box that's not the mouse inside of the case here. So you get some nice grip tapes. They all come in different sizes. You get dots, some for the mouse buttons on the sides, and then some side tapes, palm tapes, I guess, and then for the main clicks. For me, I like using cicada wings because they're a bit thinner, but these ones are nice and grippy. They are just a little bit thick. And then everything else included here is these go on the bottom of the mouse to keep any dust or anything like that out of the bottom because it is an open shell mouse. Comes with some extra PTFE dot skates, some sticky pads for the battery if you wanted to change it out, and then also some skate risers. These go underneath the dot skates to raise them, and then a drying pouch to keep everything dry. But getting to the actual meat and potatoes of everything, let's get into the case. All right, so we got a nice cable. It's a paracord ultra flexible cable. And then there's also the dongle. Oh, that's a nice purple. That is a very nice purple. An extra strap. And then, oh, these bags are new. It comes on. It's on in the bag. Okay, interesting. Might be dead on arrival then, but wow, that thing is next to its bigger brother, younger brother, I don't know. It's like the same. It's got a bit of a smaller profile. Just a tinier profile on the back. And on the sides you lose the pinky support, but it gives you that weight. It gives you the weight reduction. All right. Let's get into the first impressions, I guess. All right, so first impressions here. It is definitely a very light mouse, that is for sure. I can't really tell the 3 or 4 gram difference because the Asym is quite a light mouse as well, but this thing does seem like a good experience. The buttons are nice and clicky. They are quite light clicks, I have to say, because my fingers do reach all the way to the ends, I guess, and pressing down is quite an effortless feeling. Going to the side buttons here, they are pretty firm for a mouse this small, And they do, my fingers sit right under the backside button, which is good for me because I use it for melee in a lot of games. And the side here on the right, you do get just enough contact, just enough thickness to have your fingers sit, at least for my finger sit, going underneath. They do the iconic Gwolves thing where they're using the PCB to support the shell of the mouse, and then the battery is right here sitting there, and the port right there. But enough of me oohing and awing over the mouse. Let's get into some gameplay, maybe some comparisons. Sorry, but actually before any gameplay, I wanted to show you all the settings I have on my Fenrir Pro and where you can control the settings for any Gwolf mouse that has come out recently. So with any Chromium-based browser, head over to the Gwolves browser software, mouse.xyz, and you're going to be greeted with this page. And then just pressing connect and connecting to the dongle, you're going to be greeted with all the settings that you get with the Fenrir Pro. And I will get into a deeper dive with all the specifications and features of the Fenrir Pro, but just so you're not lost with these settings here, this is the option to change the release time of the mouse switch so you can get slightly, very slightly quicker clicks on your switches. And then the other options are also, it can go up to an 8K polling rate. You can change the liftoff distance, sleep time, sensor angle, a very precise battery percentage. This is also where you would download all the firmwares and update the mouse if you would need. And then you can change the buttons on the mouse to be any button that you would need, change your DPI, open up a media player, emails, calculators, do really anything, make macros. And then this is my settings here. You can have up to, I think, 6 stages of DPI, but I only have 3. And they're at 2400, 1600, and 600 if I really want to go slow. But these are all my settings I have, and this is where you'd be able to change any settings that you'd like. But now with a little bit of gameplay, I did want to mention the first things right off the bat that I felt with the Fenrir Pro when I brought it into game. And that being, it is a very accurate and snappy pen-like feeling mouse. Comparing it to the Fenrir Asym, it's not really a big jump, but there is definitely a noticeable jump when changing through the mice. I was able to beat my personal bests on some Kovac scenarios, and honestly, it really is just a great experience. But when I was using it for that first day, and I'd say maybe the first few days, and using it for a long time at that, I did notice I got more pinky strain than I did on the Fenrir Asym, and I think that's because I do lose that little ledge to get rest on. While I do gain benefits in accuracy and things like that, the strain is something that I will have to get used to. Alright, now after you got a little taste of how the Fenrir Pro performs in-game, I just wanted to go over the specifications and what features the Fenrir Pro has. So I'm going to throw this up here, which is found under the listing of the Fenrir Pro, and it's just describing all the features that the Fenrir Pro has. But I want to give my opinions on them too. To start with something not really on the list, I want to go over how this shell is, how strong it is, how it grips to the skin, and things like that. So to start, I am really surprised by this little mouse. Honestly, something this small really shouldn't be how strong it is, but because of the PCB reinforcement on the bottom here, I get no flex on the sides whatsoever. And the only spot I'm able to get flex on the back is right in the bottom here, which is not really touched at all by anybody. And yeah, I'm just shocked that a mouse this small is able to have such good integrity to it, and I'm not at all afraid to drop it off the side of the side of my table. But the one thing it is lacking is any type of coating or grip, so you are just feeling raw plastic here. So I've added some grip tapes to mine. I should add some to the clicks in this side, but I'm just trying something out here. And then moving on, the main clicks on this mouse are 20 million clicks mini. I don't really know what type they are exactly, but they are, I'm pretty sure, the same as the ones in the Fenrir Asym. And the implementation of them, in my opinion, on the Fenrir Pro is better. The The plastic on the Fenrir Pro, I guess because it's thinner and the lighter body and everything, it does feel like the clicks are lighter in comparison to the Fenrir Asym, which is kind of one of my gripes with the Asym, where it did feel like the clicks are heavier than they're supposed to be. This is how the clicks would sound. Moving on, the next thing I want to talk about is the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel on the Fenrir Pro, I personally like more. The notches on them feel more accurate than on the Asym, and I'm just not really getting as lost on the scroll wheel as I would on the Asym. And this is what it sounds like. And then going to the side buttons, though this is kind of a gripe I have with the Fenrir Pro, because it's such a light mouse, the side buttons do feel pretty like firm. And I find that when I do click them, I'm getting a little bit of movement. And while it is only slight movement, like look here, it is a movement that I really shouldn't be experiencing on the side buttons of such a small mouse. Moving on though, it is an open bottom mouse, so any dust or hair or anything like that will get into the bottom if you're not keeping your area clean. The battery on this mouse is honestly really good. I've been able to run 1000 hertz polling rate for about 4 or 5 days straight without having to charge it, and these are like 8-hour days of using my mouse for work and gaming and everything like that. And then it's got 8000 hertz polling rate, kind of a gimmick in my mind, but it's got it if you'd like it. And to wrap things all up, all of the specifications and qualities and features like that come in a package that only weighs 19.58 grams. But now, with that out of the way, let's compare it to these three mice here. All right, really quickly before any comparisons, I did just want to do the parameters that I've been using in this video. So the skates on the Fenrir Pro that I've used in this video are the stock Gwolves PTFE skates, the Ultra Glide Ultra Brake skates, and the Jade Pros. And then I've also used many different pads in this video. Ask me in the comments whichever pad you are interested in, but I have likely covered it in a previous video. And then for the most part, I have only used grip tape on the right side of my Fenrir Pro and nothing on the rest. I'm going to start with a comparison to the Fenrir Asym. The first thing you're going to notice is the weight, and they are very similar, with my Fenrir Asym with 4 dot skates coming in at 22.2.01 grams, and my Fenrir Pro coming in at 19.57 grams. So it's not really that easy to tell the difference. You have to really be noticing it and like using a very light grip. Shape wise, I have to say, I personally like the Fenrir Pro a little bit more. I don't know if you can tell on camera here. Maybe I'll put them like this. But the Fenrir Pro is a little bit thinner when grabbing, and that is a thing you notice right away when picking it up. The Fenrir Pro does feel more pen-like, and then there is a lack of this little side flare out, and it comes in rather than goes out. And I honestly like it more than I thought I would on the Fenrir Pro, because I think it was Struth Gaming who said it, but naturally your fingers come to a pinch, so this shape does naturally fit into my hands a little bit better. Some accessory things, the Fenrir Pro does have more solid parts on the main clicks here, just 2 more hexagons rather than on the Asym. It was one, I can't really show you because there's tape, but imagine just one of these squares or one of these hexagons just solid, and it's a smaller hexagon too, so the feeling of a solid click here does feel more on the Fenrir Pro. And then also this weird lip thing on all their Pro mice, I think they have it. A lot of their Pro mice they do, and I'm not too sure why it's there. And then comparing some other things like the strength, I say all Gwolves mice are honestly really damn strong. They use the PCBs to reinforce their mice, so it is really damn strong. And with both of these mice, I have dropped them off my table, which is about like 3 feet off the ground, and I have no damage with either of these. And then about some performance aspects, I honestly like the main clicks on the Fenrir Pro more because they are a little bit lighter and it feels more snappy, in my opinion. While they are close in comparison, it is a little more preferable on the Fenrir Pro. Weight balance and sensor placement and things like that, I have to say they are the same between each of the mice. They are very well placed right in the middle, and button wise or side button wise, the placement on both of them is good, but I like the placement on the Fenrir Pro a little bit more because my fingers do tend to be a little bit more forward on this mouse rather than on the Asym. Subjectively speaking, I do like the Fenrir Pro a little bit more. I just feel like it's a little more snappy, a little more locked in, more accurate. So I have been using it more recently. Now for our next comparison, I will be comparing to the Scyrox V8. And obviously, the first thing you're going to notice, other than the shape of them, is the weight. The Scyrox V8 is coming in around 40 grams. To be exact, it's 39.93 grams. Yes, you do notice that weight with the Scyrox V8 being double the weight of the Fenrir Pro. And then shape-wise, the Fenrir Pro is very, very heavily leaning towards fingertip, and the Scyrox V8 is leaning towards a claw grip style. You can fingertip it as well. The larger hump might get in the way, but it is great for claw grip. Moving on, the strength of each mouse. I am more surprised in the Fenrir Pro than I am in the Scyrox V8 actually, because I am getting a little bit of bending and flexing on the sides here, where you would be holding your fingers. Well, I am unnecessarily squeezing hard, but you would get a little bit of flex if you get really angry or something on the Scyrox V8. And then performance of these, the main clicks on both these mice are really good. I have to say though, the travel distance of the V8 does feel a little bit longer, so the clicks on the Fenrir Pro, in my opinion, are just a little more snappy and a little more clicky. And then the balance and sensor placements of these are really damn good. It is right in the middle for the Scyrox V8 when I pick it up. So in my opinion, I have been using the Fenrir Pro a lot more. I'm really on that fingertip grind for mice right now. And personally, this mouse has been sitting kind of dormant, just chilling, but it is there whenever I need it. And for our last comparison, I wanted to bring out a classic, and this is my original Logitech G Pro Superlight. So starting off, the weight of these two mice, I am using glass skates on a glass pad. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm just doing it for the video because I don't use this mouse much. But putting the Logitech G Pro Superlight on the scale, my copy is coming in at 67.84 grams because I do have glass skates and the dongle inside of it right now. But it is very, very noticeable when comparing to the Fenrir Pro. I think it is more than triple the weight. Then moving on shape-wise, this is something I've kind of wanted to bring up, but I don't know why everyone likes the Logitech G Pro Superlight shape so much. I personally don't. In my opinion, it feels like an egg, and it's like kind of slipping out of my hands wherever it can. And this is the earlier copy, so I don't know if they've done much to change it. I haven't gotten one in hand, but I'm in love with the fingertip mice. Moving on, the strength, it is quite strong. And I'd hope so for the big brand mice, but this one has been going strong for 5 or 6 years, I'd have to say, and I haven't had any issues. I've dropped it from pretty tall heights, and I've been able to just plug it in from a distance and use it wherever I want, so I'm not upset with it in that sense. And then performance-wise, I am surprised how good the Logitech G Pro Superlight clicks feel even after so long. They are very snappy, very clicky, but the heightened click height is something I don't really like. I personally like that low click height, and it feels more accurate to me. And then the weight and balance, the Logitech G Pro Superlight is a little bit back heavy, and I think that's because the battery is in the back, and it does have most of the components and stuff in the back here. And lastly, I did want to bring up Logitech. Where's the browser software? Where it at? Come on, man. All these mice here have a browser software, but this one is still using some installed stuff, bloatware. Come on, step it up. And now, to finish this off, I just wanted to take a close look at the Fenrir Pro for any QC issues, any damages, or anything like that. So to start looking at the main clicks here, there is next to no side wobble on any of the main clicks, and pre and post travel is very minimal. There is like no, there is post travel, but that's coming from just bending of the plastic, but it is quite well done on those main clicks. Going to the scroll wheel here, it is seated very well, very firm, clicky scroll wheel and nice notches. Now coming to the side buttons here, like I mentioned before, I do wish they were a little bit lighter on the click because they do interfere with movement a little. But besides that, the front side button here is very well done. No pre or post travel wherever you click on the button. But moving back to the back button here, I am getting a good amount of pre-travel. You're able to almost press down the whole entire thing without it clicking when you're pressing on the very back. But if you're pressing in the middle, there is very little pre and very little post travel. And then during my time using it, I have been checking for any damages here, cracks or anything like that, and I've noticed nothing. So overall, with the Fenrir Pro, or at least my copy of it, it's really damn good. Any wobble, pre or post travel that I mentioned hasn't impacted my gameplay in any way whatsoever, and I have to say it again, this little mouse really is surprising me. And now, like always, where it cooked and where it crumbled. So to start with where it cooked, I have to say the Fenrir Pro does feel more responsive than the Fenrir Asym. I don't know how to explain it too in depth, but it just feels like I'm more accurately clicking on my targets. It might be because the thinner shell, the lighter weight, but I'm hitting more high scores in my aim trainers, and it just feels like a more naturally held mouse. And then another way that it cooked is the perfectly weighted clicks. I know I've mentioned a lot, but I really do like the clicks on the Fenrir Pro, plus the new spdt switches. It just really feels like I'm accurately clicking exactly when I want and where I want. And then the last thing I say that it cooks in is kind of particular to Gwolves mice, but Gwolves mice do have a lot of holes on their shell, and with that, it kind of does feel weird under the fingertips if you don't have any grip tapes. So the Fenrir Pro here does have more solid hexagons on the main clicks. It does give a better sense of just a solid main click underneath your finger. But now where it crumbled. The first thing I noticed is in the long sessions, I have to say my hand does get a little sore, at least more sore than with the Fenrir Asym. And in things like if I'm aim training for a long time, maybe 2 to 3 hours, I am getting more soreness on the pinky than I would on the Fenrir Asym. And then another way it crumbled is how you're locked to dot skates. And while this might not be an issue for everyone, I did have to mention it because some people do enjoy using full-size skates, and I don't even think I was given full-size skates when unboxing the Fenrir Pro. So that is something you have to keep in mind, and using a full-size skate on the Fenrir Pro is probably going to be impossible because they don't even offer their own. And that kind of plays into my last part of how niche and how expensive the Fenrir Pro is. Fingertip grip style is not for everyone, and that's what you're locked to on the Fenrir Pro. And it's also $160 for a solid shell color and $170 for a translucent shell. So really it is an investment that you have to know you want and know that you are going to get use out of it. So for my final thoughts on the Fenrir Pro, I'd have to say I am surprised that I'm saying this, but in my opinion, it is probably my best fingertip mouse. The flare out from the Asym is nice and it does offer more control, but I think the Fenrir Pro does just feel more natural in my fingers. But even though I think it is the best fingertip mouse, I can't recommend it to just anyone. The strictness of the grip plus how expensive it is, it really makes it an investment rather than just a purchase, and For me, I personally love lighter mice, but for you, it might not be so worth it. And if you did take your time to think about it, the link for the Fenrir Pro will be in the description, and make sure to use code RICHY, RICHY, all caps, for $10 off your purchase. Alright, but now, before I close out the video, I want to say thank you to all of you who have made it this far, and I want to celebrate the seasonal love with you all by doing a giveaway. And the giveaway will be for my copy of the Lock On Gear Harut, and it's going to come with everything that's included, like the mouse skates, the cleaning cloth, all of that stuff. So all you need to do to enter is just subscribe, like the video, and comment any mouse emoji. I just need to know that you've watched till this far. And I'll keep the giveaway open for a month, and then I'll announce the winner on March 14th. So if you're interested in getting a chance to win my edition of the Lock On Gear Harut, do like and comment, and then put that mouse emoji in the comments as well. Anyways though, that is everything I have to say for this video. Hopefully I helped you come to a decision on the Fenrir Pro, and if you are going to buy it, please don't forget to use code RICHY, RICHY, all caps, for $10 off your purchase, and it does work for any product on the Gwolves store as well. But thank you for clicking on this video, thank you for sticking around, and it's ta-ta for now.